What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another Reddit video here on the Life Stories channel. My name's Dylan, and today we're going to be looking at some stories from the subreddit Tales from Retail. It's been a while since we visited this one, so I thought I'd go back to it. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. The time a customer argued with me about taxes to the point that I cried. I've dealt with a lot of rude and verbally abusive customers before, but recently I became a manager, and this happened on the night that just me and two other co-workers were closing. So, being the only manager there at the time, the situation was on me to handle, and the man wouldn't take anything I said as an acceptable answer. M is me, and HM is horrible man. P's the high school kid that I was working on HM's boat, aka his pawn. I was working at a boating supply store with an extremely lenient returns policy. Basically, as long as you can show proof of purchase, we'll take back almost everything, even if what you're telling us is a bold-faced lie. We sell an extended warranty on electronics, and if something goes wrong with them, you can bring them back in and get the new ones immediately. But of course, this story isn't going to be as simple as that. So P walks in with two subwoofers that have rusted and tells me he's working for HM and shows me the warranty for them. They're about $200 a piece, remember that for later. P: I have a warranty for these and need to get two new ones. Me: okay, perfect, let me go and see if we have them in stock. So I looked up the SKUs, and of course it's now a discontinued model. This is where it gets fun. So there's a lot of different sections in the store, and marine electronics is not my strong suit. So I explain this to P, and he helps me look at the specs of the new subwoofers, and we decide the new model, which is about $350, would be the right replacements. At this point, P is on the phone with HM explaining the situation. While I can't hear the entire conversation, I'm able to pick up that HM wants these new ones to be honoured at the $200 price, so he wouldn't have to pay anything extra. So me and my co-workers go on the hunt for the new subwoofer, and we have one. At this point the money's on a gift card, the full amount tax included. P makes it clear that HM is insistent that we have the other subwoofer at the store ASAP. I tell him that the other smaller store about 30 minutes away has one, but since they close earlier than we do, I can't call them to make sure the system is right in saying they have one in stock. So P talks to HM on the phone some more, and they decide that P will just have to drive up to the other store tomorrow to get the other one. We now begin to check out. I honour the $200 price for the $350 subwoofer, but we quickly realise that there will not be enough money on the gift card to cover the taxes of having both of them at the reduced price. Upon telling HM this, P hands the phone to me. HM: I already have to send my guy away and pay him more money for tomorrow, so go get the other one. Why isn't this an even swap? Me: it's an even swap on our part. The taxes must have gone up, and I don't have the power to change or take off the taxes owed. This is where HM starts to set up his vague dominance over me to try and make me do whatever he wants. HM: I'm so tired of this rubbish. I've had to call corporate so many times, and most recently they gave me 1,000 points for my trouble, and here we are again having trouble. 1,000 points in our system equates to roughly $40 in cash certificates to the store. We're sitting here arguing over $6 in taxes. He also tells me that this guy's quick to call corporate and complain about anything in order to get rewards. Me: I'm so sorry, but there really is no way for me to change the amount of tax it's charging. You would either have to call back or have P come back tomorrow when the store manager's here, and maybe he can do something about it. HM: so what you're telling me is this is going to cost me more money. I know there's numbers that you can call. This is a multi-million-dollar company, and you're telling me there's nothing you can do? You guys aren't honouring the warranty, and this is unacceptable. At this point, we're taking a $300 loss to make this guy happy, but of course we aren't holding up our end of the deal. Me: okay, let me go give my store manager a call. Of course my manager doesn't pick up, and neither do any of my other managers. So I go back and tell him there's nothing I can do for him tonight at this point. Me: Okay sir, I wasn't able to reach anyone, so there's nothing I can do about the taxes tonight. I'm sorry, but you'll have to come in tomorrow when the store manager is back to see if he can do anything then. HM: I'm paying a lot of money to fix my boat and I don't want to send him back here tomorrow. Am I supposed to ask my daughter to take the time out of her day to come back tomorrow? So you're telling me this is going to cost me money either way? Now, the way he sets this question up was so that I was going to be the bad guy either way. If I said yes, I sounded like an arse, and he'd have to call corporate because clearly he's quick to do that. And I can't say no because there's legit no way for me to fix this problem as of tonight. So I try and de-escalate the situation, but we always end back up at, so this is going to cost me money, yes or no? He finally gives me this line: this is $1 million company, there must be someone who you can call, go and call them. At this point we've been doing this for about an hour or so and I'm mentally exhausted from trying to help this man. As I hand the phone back to P, I start to tear up and P sees this. I hurry to the back and go call the customer service number, who I know can't waive taxes, but I'm feeling out of options at this point. I tearfully get on the phone with them as they say that they can't give me a gift card to cover the tax or anything. They suggest, and essentially abusing, the discount button to take another $6 off the transaction. Once I recollect myself, I head back up and explain that I'm going to try and take more money off, and this appeases HM. The system lets me abuse the button, and at this point my mind is fried. I had drawers to close and customers who needed help, and this had gone on for too long. Basically, it came out to having 40 cents left on the gift card. P left and that's the last I've heard from them. My co-worker who went to high school with HM's daughter told me that the girl is still in high school and that I can't get over the fact that this man was acting like his high school daughter's time was indispensable. I also later found out that we aren't really supposed to price match new models to the discontinued one, so this guy got off saving so much money, yet he still had to break down a 19-year-old female to tears. I think it's funny that HM thought it was okay to make me cry, but if it was his daughter, who isn't so far off in age to me, he probably would have been outraged. He was extremely apologetic and clearly embarrassed that his boss acted like that. He even said that if it still didn't come out as even, he would just pay the small tax and not tell HM about it. And that was the most emotionally exhausting night of my life at work. Thanks for listening. Edit: thank you kind stranger for my first gold. I know some of you in the comments are critical of younger people that are working within retail and feeling the supposed pressure and breaking down emotionally, but you've got to remember that she's 19 and she was on the phone to someone who's clearly being abusive for an entire hour with absolutely no backup, representing a multi-million-dollar company. I mean, it's not the easiest thing to do. I got my exercise in today, my trash is your problem now. I work in a beer and wine store in Maine, which is a state where bottle redemption is a thing. The business hasn't performed in bottle redemption in the last 15 years, 3 owners ago. For some reason on Sundays, random people come out of the woodworks to redeem their bottles, even though it clearly states on the door in bold red wording that we do not redeem bottles. I'm sat at the front counter doing ordering with one of the reps when this lady with a backpack walks in. She stops near the door where the lotto machine is and rummages around in the backpack. Co-worker and I pay no attention and we figure out she's going to use the ticket scanner to check her lottery tickets. Instead, she pulls out 3 sparkling wine bottles and pops them on the counter in front of my co-worker. Lady: I need to redeem these for 45 cents. Co-worker: sorry, we don't do that here. Lady: Google says you do. And she's not entirely wrong. The business does pop up on a list when you type in Storetown bottle redemption, but in Google it's pretty far down that list. We've contacted Google's, but efforts to have us removed have been unsuccessful. Our website states and the homepage states that we do not redeem bottles. Me: sorry, it's an old listing and Google won't remove it. We haven't done bottle redemption for 15 years. Lady in a huff now: well, I walked with these bottles for a mile to get rid of them, so I'm just going to have to leave them here and you can take my 45 cents. She storms out and leaves the 3 empty bottles on the counter. The sales rep, my co-worker and I all laugh about how unself-aware some people are. Like, sure, leave your bottles at the place that does not redeem them. The store owner will take the bottles and cans to a redemption centre once a month, but who just leaves their trash for other people to clean up? So let me get this straight, the woman walked a mile for a measly 45 cents, but then didn't think it was worth the trouble to find a place that will actually pay her. I wish I had that kind of free time. Customer harasses me, lowkey stalks me, and is in general the worst. Background: I work in a small town electronics appliance store when I was in high school, 2015. I was only a temporary Christmas worker, so I wasn't till trained. My job was to help with incoming stock shelves, keep the store tidy, and help customers to the best of my ability, and then hand them off to the full-time workers to complete the sale. I'm quite tech inclined and could usually help out with what customers were asking, but if I got out of my depth, I'd just ask one of the full-time staff to assist. Okay, now onto the story. Cast: me is lil teenage me, Annie's the full-time co-worker, Dad is the main harasser, not my dad, Mum is his wife, girl is their daughter, and boy is their son. So I was stocking shelves one day and it was pretty quiet and this family came in. Dad immediately beelines for me and tells me they need a tablet. Okay, no worries, we have a tablet station set up with all of the Android tablets and then a separate display for the iPads because Apple likes to be different. Kids go off and play on the iPads and Dad wanders off and asks Mum what the tablet is needed for. She says that it's for the girls' schoolwork. She says very shyly that she wants the cheapest tablet, important for later. Sweet, I show her the cheapest one and it fits all her requirements. Okay, time to go out the back and get a boxed one. Dad comes over and immediately starts asking why we went for that one. I try to explain that it's our cheapest option and he starts grilling me on what the difference is between that one and a Samsung one. Well, the price for a start. The Samsung was a solid $400 more. He gets super in-depth grilling me for about specifics of the tablet. Now I'm not an expert on Android, I'm better with Apple, so I say I'm not sure, but let me grab someone who will know, and signal to Annie who's at the counter. She comes over and Dad explodes. No, you need to finish doing your job, to Annie. Nope, go away, she hasn't finished her job. This goes on for a few minutes while I try to get a word in. Annie, who's heard everything, says actually she's a trainee, her job is to get as much help as she can to you and then go and get one of us. She's done her job. Dad gets in a huff but finally shuts up. Annie and Mum decide to get the cheaper tablet and Annie goes out the back to get the boxed one. Dad goes to get the kids from the iPads and asks me what are these? I tell him they're iPads. Why didn't you show us these? Because Mum asked to see the cheapest one and these start about $500. Dad looks pissed and says, I want one of these. Mum and I are dumbfounded. Dad is insistent, so Annie and I go and get them sorted on which one / storage size, etc. They end up spending $500 more than planned. Mum is not happy, but I get the vibe she doesn't want to stand up to Dad. They head to the counter to buy and Annie asks how they'd like to pay. Dad puts a lottery ticket on the counter. Not a winning one, just a trash one he had in his pocket. He cracks up like it's the funniest joke, howling with laughter. Annie and I are not having it. Annie asks again and Mum reluctantly hands over the credit card. They pay and finally leave. Wow, the nightmare's over. Joking. They come in the next day because they don't know how to set up the iPad. Our store offered tech solutions / help with the tech, but usually it's a paid service through a separate part of the company where someone books and then a solutions employee will come into the store. We don't usually just sit there and help ourselves because we're not trained to do it and we don't get paid for it unless it's a quick fix or you're extra nice. So the family comes in and sits at our finance desk asking for help setting up with the iPad. I'm not there yet, I didn't start until 11 that day, but Dad insists they only want me to help them, so they hang around. As soon as I walk in, we enter through the front doors and walk to our back room through the store, he grabs me and tries to pull me over to them. I haven't even clocked in or out my stuff away. I'm trying to tell him this, but he's breaking out the "you do need to do your job" spiel again and again. Never mind setting up your iPad isn't actually my job. It took another employee intervening before he would let me go upstairs. I clock in, etc., and reluctantly head back out. They're still waiting for me, but luckily I actually know a lot about Apple, so it's not a huge task for me to set up an iPad. Although the fact that they didn't have an email address, who the hell doesn't have an email address anyway, didn't help. It took me 3 hours in the end because Mum didn't understand a lot of it. Dad left and came back with food, tried to give me a donut. I declined, not to be rude, but mostly because I'd already eaten, and it seemed wrong to take food from a customer or stranger. He kept trying to shove it in my face and then eventually decided to eat it himself. I was very stoked when I finally saw the home screen of the iPad and I could send them the hell home. I won't keep going on here because this is super long already, but they came in a few more times, bought another tablet that was super expensive, what the hell, and there's another time when he accosts me outside of the store demanding I sell him a phone, and then had a massive argument with me when I tried to sell him said phone. Well, to be honest, if someone gets paid more than you to do a job that you're asked to do, flat out refuse to do it if you're working within a huge company, because otherwise you're just going to have the advantage taken out of you, and sometimes you won't even know what you're meant to do. But of course, if you work in a small business, you'll probably want to try and help them the best you can because you want to keep your job. Well folks, that's it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy, leave a like rating down below, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.